All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I got a little ahead of myself, but I was working on some really awesome sentiment analysis based on calm and focus data yesterday. And today I want to continue that work. I spent a little bit of this morning programming, just sort of jamming on it, laying some of the foundational work that will make this stream, I think, more productive for you guys and also more productive for me. So we can sort of move past and start actually working on the sentiment analysis, not the background and getting the data to the point ready for the sentiment analysis. So I'm really excited to sort of break it out and show you what I've been thinking about. I'll spend the first couple minutes of this stream sort of breaking down my thought process over how I refactored the code. And then I'll go into continuing the refactoring of the code. And hopefully by the end we'll have a sort of a shippable unit of work by the end of today. That we can then open a pull request and hopefully get merged to master sometime this week. I'm really excited to see what I'm working on sort of come to life. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I have this dream of creating like this tertiary layer, this like personal assistant that's like sitting on top of your head and is like helping you out. It's like, AJ, go get a coffee, you're tired, or AJ, go take a walk, or AJ, get in the zone, you're going for it, like gun it, floor it, get the code out there. So I'm excited for the work that we've been doing because I think it's really starting to get to that idea of like an assistant that knows you better than anyone else knows you. I think it's a good start. And so what we've been working on, and I'll sort of show you, go switch over to my screen, coding on laptop. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. I just found out about this new view, so I'm pretty excited about it. I think this should be pretty good for you guys at home, make it as big as possible. But this view that I'm looking at in my code editor is called Appearance, and you go Centered Layout. I don't even know what Zen Mode is. Zen Mode's cool. Probably don't want to do that though. I like seeing some stuff. Zen Mode. Okay, cool. So, but it's centered now and it's not off to the left, so I like that. So what I've been working on is at the end of yesterday's session we had, let me see here. Well, that's cool. You can already see it starting to work. The code I was working on, I haven't even looked at that yet. There's a little sentence, but we wanted to insert a sentence after this line here. So it would be like 27 distractions with 5 minutes of productive time, and like you had a great recovery, great job. Good control of focus increased. So we're starting to sort of create sentiment analysis over this time series of data. It's what I'm super excited about. I think it's a really cool feature, and that way it would change if we view the other way. It would change, and I can see a bug here, but it'll change based on like what the data actually looks like. So I'm very excited to see this sort of start firing together. And I also figured out how to get React's debugger to work, and like amazing. I'm so excited that we're now able to step through code, so you'll probably see me use this a lot more. But control of focus increased, focus was lost in the end. I mean, come on, is that not the coolest thing ever? Like, it's telling you, and we can go look at this breakdown, and we can see focus was lost in the end. And I'd be interested to know why it says that, but it's probably something based on the variance, or I don't know. But we'll go check that out, and we'll see. And we're trying to sort of fit sentences to this data so that when you're viewing it like this at a high level, you'll quickly run through a day's worth of coding activity. And so if I go back over to this, it's adding something called sentiment. That's what I've been calling it. And so this whole thing is a session, and then there's multiple sessions, right? So this get sessions, the breakdown of that, the analytics behind that. You can see that it's going to calculate sessions. It's going to take this large chunk of like all your day's data. It's going to then fit that based on timestamps into different chunks, sessions. And then for each session that's over a minute long, if it's just like a 10 seconds worth of data during this like time, like you unplugged and plugged it back in or something, we discard that. Yeah, I'll throw that on a second. We discard that data, And then we run through each of these sessions that we've created, and we get start time, end time, create an ID for it, and then we go get this analytics for it. And that analytics, if we come over here, and this is sort of where I started the refactor. So this function didn't exist yesterday. But what I've gone ahead is I have categorized the sessions. I see a little bit of redundancy here. But I first go ahead and categorize the session. And what that means is we break it down and we look at of this chunk of data. At this point, we don't know if it's calm, if it's focused data. We've just gotten this huge mess of data from the server. I just thought of another way we could do that too. But anyway, we got this chunk of data, and we don't know really what it is at this point. So we filter it, and we create an array of just calm and an array of just focus data. And that's an array of objects. Each object has like a label, calm, a timestamp, a probability. And then we start creating an object called a session. So this is the first idea of a session. And this is all sort of new as well. We add the calm and the metrics. We add the total average of the calm and the focus. I don't know if we'll end up using that yet. We may. We could start using this in our sentiment analysis. But then we say if there's enough focus metrics over 60 seconds, over a minute's worth of focus, and there's a minute of calm, we're going to call this session a hybrid type. If there's only greater than a minute of focus data, then we're going to call it a focus, and everything else we're going to call a calm session. Okay? Then we return this newly created object. Once we get this object back into session, and there's going to be a better way to do this, I know, but I can already think of a better way to do this. Okay. But yeah, so then we feed that session into session over here, and we're going to extract distraction data. Okay? This function, and I have it hidden because it's kind of large, we're going to use the focus metrics by default, and then if there's calm metrics, but if it's a calm session, then we'll end up using the calm metrics here. This then starts in a previous session, in a previous part, I don't remember which part it was, I actually went through the math of how I calculated the distractions and all that. But this essentially creates and adds another object onto session. And then it creates focus times. That's an array of the time you're focused. And then number of distractions, which you are obviously seeing printed here. Total amount of time focused, that's this number up here, 28. Total time of session, total amount of time focused is this time right here, 27 minutes, 36 minutes, right there. Total time of session, that's this 28 or 39. Lost time is actually the total time of session minus total amount of time focused. And I don't even know if we're even using that anymore. And quality is total amount of time focused divided by total time of session, which gives us this score right here. Cool. So then we expand the session object and we return focus times, and then we store that into session. Yeah, I think there's a better way to do this. And then we enter that into get sentiment. And sentiment says, and this is sort of the new code that I've been working on, okay? And so get sentiment takes this session object and it looks at its focus metrics and its calm metrics. And once again, we're going to do an exclusion. We're going to say if it's less than 5 minutes session, you're going to just ignore this session and don't run sentiment analysis on it. And by not having it there, sort of indicates that it was too short. And I guess I put a little comment. I normally don't comment JavaScript to try and have it readable, but I guess I wanted to be explicit and say if both focus and calm are less than 5 minutes, return nothing. Note that this object here will likely change. Maybe not. Okay, and then we go down here and we get the calm chunks and the focus chunks. Okay. So chunk metrics, session calm and focus, right? Focus, focus, no issues there. Calm, calm. Let's go look at chunk metrics. Chunk metrics is a new function as well. And chunk metrics, check this out. And I had in my handy dandy notebook, I had to, while I was hanging out last night, let me see over here. I went and wrote down a bunch of different stuff for each different state that I wanted. And that's what I've sort of been running off of, and it was a high level approach, but that's what I've been sort of running my head around. Okay, so then we take this idea and we take this metric, right? And this metric is either only focus or only calm. So we're just looking at it's already been qualified. So we're just looking at the start, the middle, and the end. And we're running analytics on the start, the middle, and the end. This is open to interpretation if this is the best way, but I think it's an interesting way to at least get started. So then we're going to go over to compute analytics. And compute analytics is super simple right now. We can happily ratchet this up as time goes on, but I just wanted to make it super simple right now. And we're just computing the average, which is going to be that average point, essentially power of this brainwave, but it's like relative and it's tracking. So, and then the metrics variance, we're calculating the variance, which is essentially how much do the points differ from their average, right? So it looks at that for the whole chunk of time, which will be useful, right? So in one of my logs, I have like if you'll see up there in a second, but if the focus is stable, the variance is stable, then that means something. Okay. So now up here, after we compute the analytics for the start, the middle, and the end, this is where I was starting to get creative. And I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but I just figured let's get started. I create this new object called output. I have start, middle, end, variance description, and average description. And then I create, I guess I run through two main if statements. I say if the start variance is greater than the middle, so if the start is greater than if the variance in the middle, in the start is greater than the variance in the middle, and the variance in the start is greater than the variance in the end, I'm not looking at the middle of the end, it goes from high to low. And I guess I should also qualify that the end variance is also greater than the middle variance. Or else it should be another thing, but we'll get to that. So it essentially goes high to low. If the start variance is less than the middle variance and the start variance is less than the end variance, it goes low to high. And otherwise call it stable. And obviously we need to expand these, and that's what I want us to work on now. But if start average is greater than middle average, and middle average is greater than the end average, so this is a little bit different, right? It goes from high to low. And if end average is greater than middle average and middle average is greater than the start average, then it goes from low to high, like left to right. So then, or otherwise it's stable power. So now that we've chunked these metrics for both calm and focus. So right, we know based on we took a session, we looked at its focus, and we broke down into start, middle, and end. We then computed the variance for that. How much did it change in this chunk of time? We also looked at the average. Where was it on the graph? And then we did that for each of the chunks. And now we're going to look at like how that works in between there. So then we say if it's a session type of hybrid, meaning that it has both calm and focus. Or if it's a session type of focus, we're just going to be looking at the sentiment, or we're just going to be looking at the focus chunks, right? Or else, if it's calm, then we want to look at this high to low. Calm, or, oh, there's the bug. Yes. That fixes a bug that I was thinking about. It's good to reread your code, I guess. And here we go. If session type is a hybrid or it's a calm, then we want to look at the calm chunks. And I decided just arbitrarily and I want to do this as well. Else sentiment plus equals period. So that it tacks this sentiment, a period, onto the end of these. Period. Okay, cool. Okay. So then we go through the session type, and if it's, I just made up little sentences. I don't know if these are the right, perfect yet, and we're going to keep working on that and taking feedback and listening. But if the focus is going from high to low, control of focus, or the variance, control of focus increased. If focus was, we can even be more kind here, but if it was low to high, focus was lost in the end. And then we can say good control of focus, like good, consistent control of focus, right? And then we come down here and we look at if the average, the power, went from high to low of calm, we're going to say continually got more out of the zone. If it goes from low to high, we're going to say, continually got more out of the zone, more into the zone. Okay, if it goes from low to high, you got more into the zone. And if the calm is stable, then you're going to say stayed in the zone the whole time. And then, or else add a period onto it. And if it's not a hybrid, this sentence, this whole little tricky part right here, I guess really this part, is just saying if it's a hybrid, that there's going to be focus, a sentence from focus up above here. So, so you should continue on that sentence to finish the sentence. If there is none, it's just calm, then you just want to tack that C onto there. Or, in this case, S, right? So very simple. So now if we go over here and we refresh, I don't know why it automatically didn't refresh. I do know now. Come over here, and we had to do npm start. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a question in the comment box. Happy to answer. I told you guys yesterday I would go look at the comments, but I have not done that yet. Okay, so this is for today. Let's go look at yesterday. Dun, 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 dun. Why is it getting cut? NC. But C, NC. I know the issue. So I think I just need to put these in parentheses, because it's saying C plus this as the last argument, so it should work. Yeah, that's good. That even reads a lot better too, so that's good. All right, let's go look over here. Bonus points if you saw that before I saw it. Okay, all right, look how cool that is, right? So now we have this immaculate sentence generation thing, which I've dreamed of a lot for sure. So now under this first one at 10:51 a.m. yesterday, you can see 27 distractions with 5 minutes of productive time. Good consistent control of focus, but continually got more out of the zone. Now, if we go look at this one, control of focus increased and continually got more into the zone. Okay, so let's go, and obviously this is a 6-minute one, so it's tough to say. Really even 6 minutes seems like a lot, kind of not enough. I may just do something real quick. Kind of want like a minimum of 10. Let's just say const minimum sentiment metric count is equal to 10 times 60. And then we're going to get rid of this and this. Cool. But we're actually going to return a sentiment of actually I don't even know if sentiment analysis is the right word. Probably is not the right word. We should probably change that. What is the definition of sentiment? I know I looked it up yesterday when I was trying to spell it, but a view or attitude toward a situation or event. I mean, you could say it's a view toward an event or an opinion. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right word. Okay, so now we get our little note because it's too short of a session. I don't know if we'll end up putting that sentence in there in production, but so let's look at this one. Control of focus increased and continually. It's weird that these don't speak in the first person. And continually. Whoop. Just going to make this read a little bit better by saying you continually got more into the zone. Oh, not that. Fix this one as well. All right. Your control. I just want to see how this reads. It may read better. All right, let's see what this looks like. All right. Record at least 10 minutes. Oh, yeah. Your control of focus increased and you continually got more into the zone. That's as good of a session I feel like you can have. Let's go take a peek at it. All right. So your control of focus increased. Let's just look at focus. Okay, so here you can see variance was higher in the beginning. Right, it's going more wavy, and then it tightens up as it continues on, which I think is awesome. That's really what you want to see. And actually, let me go show you another day that looks like that as well. April 30th. When you saw this, you probably saw me tweeting like crazy about how excited I was that I got this working. So look at this. Your control of focus increased, and you continually got more into the zone. So you can see here that the variance starts off very high, which is indicative of distraction, and then it tightens up. Oh, look at this one. Your focus was lost in the end, but you continually got more in the zone. Interesting. So the power of your calm, the average at least, was higher in the end, but your focus was lost in the end. That's cool. So I think that's trying to say, like, finish up earlier. And obviously I'm going to test this a bunch and see if this is working well. But that's cool. Like, it's saying there should be a little button here that says give feedback. I should do that one day. We'll have a little thumbs up or thumbs down buttons to say if it was correct. Okay. So now I think there's ways we can like keep working on this and making it a little bit better. And let's take a look at some calm. What are they saying for calm? I'm going to go ahead and put my headset on too. So I'm going to go ahead right now and put on my Notion. I'll switch back over to full face. It's charging right now, so I'm just undoing the charger. It's already extended for my head. I'm putting it on like that. I just hopped out of the shower, so I wanted to give it a little bit. I don't know if you can use it right after the shower, but it's probably fine. So there, it's on. See that? Make sure my phone's far away from me. Go over here. I'm going to share the link one more time on Twitter and say, still live. Still live on YouTube. Probably going to get dinged for this on the focus. Okay. All right, so your focus was lost in the end, but you continually got more in the zone. All right, and then your control of focus, here, let's just look at calm. You continually got more in the zone. I don't know if I agree with that. Interesting. I mean, that does look like you got more in the zone, but your focus tightens up too. Interesting. Oh, I'll switch back to coding on laptop. There we go. All right, so back over here. Computer just decided to lock up though. Oh, it just started coming together. Perfect timing to close it. All right, so this is the current session. Looks like my focus is very low. Let's go take a quick peek at that. Look at the signal quality. Just doing some quick arithmetic. Trying to see if I can get my focus up. Alright. I was just checking signal quality, make sure everything's running well. Of course, all this computation and everything is being done locally on the device, but I can at least tap into it. Alright. It's okay, the algorithms are built for this. It's going to be good data. So you can see here my calm is still okay, but the focus data is a little lower. So, anyway. So if we come in here, there's really a couple things that we have to play around with. And the first one is the variance and the average. And those are the two that I've at least started programming. For the focus right now, I am leveraging the variance, and for the calm, I'm leveraging the power. Does it make sense to leverage the variance for the calm? Does it make sense to work on the work with the focus power? Because I think that there is something to be said about like the power being lower continually of these different algorithms. So there, my my focus has come up. Let's see over here. Okay. So right now, you continually got more into the zone. So in my notebook, okay. So let's go take a peek over here, how we're computing these high to low first. I think I want to take a look at this. If the start variance, this should really be, and if the middle was bothering me. Let's see if that changed anything. You can see here that the average focus power does decrease though. I know that always doesn't have to do with like being in the zone though. There were days where it's pretty good, but okay, so for the focus, your control of focused increased. How can I incorporate the power in here? Well, let's just try this. Holding down Option, clicking. Gonna add a plus in here, comma, space. Maybe you don't need to say anything, but you can if you want to. So if your power your focus power went lower. There's gotta be a better way to say this. Your focus power increased. And do we need to say anything here? Let's not say anything here yet. Although I guess we want to say focus power was level. Your control of focus increased while your focus power went lower and you continually got more into the zone. I don't know if that's really saying anything. I think it needs to be like a higher level interpretation, or at least your power needs to go into this first sentence, because that does not really read well. Okay, let's just focus on this case right here. Your control of focus increased, but your power goes lower. So that generally has to do with like when you start a session and then you sort of wane off by the end, and it's a very common thing. But it shows that like it sort of shows when you should take a break. Is when it really starts to wane. So I'm trying to think what the right way to say this is. Your control of focus increased. Maybe we don't need to say anything in this case because that's obvious. What about the case where it goes low to high? I don't know if I want to say something there quite yet. I'm gonna have to look for a session where it goes low to high. Focus power was level. Focus power increased. April 30th in the morning. Oops. Yeah, so here's a sign when it increased, which is like very helpful. It sort of shows that you took a break a little too early. Consider extending this session. Next time? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Really get some advice. That was the 30th. Oh, here's the sentiment. Okay, so now you can see, like, right now is a perfect example. Like, the session is just starting to build, and my focus is going to continually increase for a good bit. So that's just exactly like what's happening in this current session, right? Is that my focus is going to keep building while I get more and more in the zone, because I can program right now for a while. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. It's great that it says that. I like that. Okay. Consider extending this session. Man, it's like this type of session. Focus was lost in the end. Consider extending this type of session. That doesn't really make sense. It works. The issue I have right now is that this session on the 30th. Alright, let's take a look at this. This session on 30th consider, like, I don't like that it says your focus was lost in the end. Consider extending this type of session. Because I guess it's looking at the variance. Frankly, I think the variance on this one is messed up because of those probabilities. Should I reject the zeros? That would probably fix that if I rejected, like, and there's a bunch of zeros there. I think I must have, like, gotten up and walked around or something. Or done something, I don't know. For some reason there's a ton of zeros, which is messing up this session in particular. Because, I mean, it looks like this varies even more, and this is more clustered up here. We're going to just go ahead here and filter out if the probability is equal to 0. Return. We don't need all this. Alright, let's see what happens now. Hey. Line 286. She's right there. Dang typos. Interesting. It sounds like when you get rid of zeros, too many zeros, it messes with the variance too much. I guess you can see here that the variance at the end was off. It got good, but then it went off. But there's not a lot of zeros there, so. Look at average power. I wonder if, because I did this, did that mess with it? April 30th. I'm trying to look at this great consistent control of focus. I want that to say something else. Okay, so that's a little better. I don't know how that will apply to all of them, but it's not bad. I guess that's saying if the variance of the first is bigger than any of the latter, that's good. But if you start going crazy at the, if your variance starts going bad at the end, that should be something else. Is there a session I have here where the end variance is worse than the beginning? That means it's low to high, and that will print out your focus was lost in the end. Let's find a session, and I'll start writing these down. So we know that this one's high to low. Man, I think this is just cool though. I'm looking for your focus was lost in the sentiment analysis. It's just tricky to find. Maybe something's wrong with the algorithm. I'm not getting a single one. It could be the case that the algorithm is just wrong. I could just run like a script over all of them to see. Oh yeah, you can see it pretty bad there. Should really cut off the first like minute and a half while the headset's being adjusted though. And it really, I guess now I am getting rid of the outliers though. Getting rid of the outliers should change it. If start variance is less than, oh shoot, there's the issue. Sorry. If start variance is less than the middle, and this is where I want to change start. Well, that's the issue. Whoops. Alright. Recess. Michael Feldman just said, how about calling it recess? I like that. Could take a recess. Michael Feldman commented, how about calling recess? Have to account for meals. Creativity definitely comes from without focus. I've definitely noticed that. Creativity tends to be more with this purple mark, and the green is more of just like getting it done. Let's see here. I'd really like to find that one. It says you lost focus. I had this caching for a little bit, but just ended up using too much local memory. I had to go back to this way. Okay, now I'm going to check the activity manager. Let's go check the... Why is this going so badly? Come on, Chrome. Alright, there we go. Your focus was lost in the end, this one. It does kind of look like that. Let's go print out over here. The chunks. Actually, I don't need to do this anymore. Check this out. If I go over to, I just discovered how to do this. In many programming languages you can do this, but I couldn't figure out how to get this page open without in React. So here though, you're at least able to set breakpoints. So I'll come over here and I'll come right here and set a breakpoint, or a log point it's called. Yeah, let me, I guess, add log point. Let's add breakpoint. And then you come back over here, you hit refresh. Should break over there. It's weird. Maybe it got outdated. Let me just do this, debugger. This is how I found it last time. I put this little sentence in there, and then I reran it. This did crash my browser at one point, so hopefully it doesn't. Boom, it stops. Okay, so now, just gonna make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully you can see this. Don't need that open. And we're just gonna, we paused here in time, and we're just gonna go look at, where's my stack? Scope. Okay, local scope. So now down here we can look at this actual, at this value in time during this function call, and we can come look at the compute metrics on it. So variance, I forgot I multiplied that by 100. I totally forgot I did that. I wonder if that messed anything up. Yeah, I don't know why I multiplied the probability by 100, but I think it just made it a little bit easier to read this variance. So I guess we want to hit play, and then we want to go click on the day we want to look at. It'll stop. I think we should hit play one more time. It should stop on it. I don't know what it stopped on. Oh boy. Come on, pull through this computer. I really don't have much else open. There we go. Alright, we're lucky, I guess, that it let us do that. But it's still the wrong day. Okay. So let's continue going through. Interesting. day is this? Hybrid. Okay, this is the next object that's about to be loaded. So these are the numbers that we want to write down. Variance is higher at the end. Variance is 170 at the end. 170, 155, 149. Interesting. Okay. This is the okay. We also try something as well. I found this, add log point. Or I saw someone, Dan Abernoff, I think his name is Abernoff, tweeted about this thing called the log point. So I'll try adding that in. You come over here and you hit log point. Oh boy. That debugger, I don't know what's up with it, but it really locks this computer up. Terribly. You want to believe it will work, but it really just doesn't. Can't tell if these are adding or not. It's okay. Oh, there we go. Wow, it just is really that slow. Yikes. I am sorry that this is that slow. I wouldn't think it would be that slow. Whew. Get out of here. Oh, not chess. Oh boy. Alright, so no more opening that line up. I do want to try this. Chunks. Wow, it just printed off there. Holy smokes. That is so convenient. Wow. Do you see that? That's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Let's just look at focus. Wow. No more console logs everywhere. Is that not the greatest thing in the world? If there's one thing you take away from this video, that's got to be it. I mean, holy smokes. Let me go open up my YouTube studio again. Studio.youtube. Make sure that's still going. I don't think quitting Chrome would end this, but let's go check it out. YouTube Studio. Hey, alright, it's still there. Okay. So, yeah, so how cool is that? So now the breakpoints are there, or the log points are there, and if we go click on another page, Alright, your focus was lost in the end. The variance decreased. So minimally. The average power decreases interesting. Because the variance is greatest in the center and lower in the beginning. But it's also low in the end. It's actually lower in the end. The variance is lower. So let's go check that out. And it's really in low to high. The start variance is less than the middle variance, and the start variance is less than the end variance. Start variance is less than the end variance. No, I really shouldn't say that. Let's say low to high though. The start here is less just by a little. Wow, really close. 122 to 124. I don't know if variance is really the right metric here. Because you can see at the end it gets higher and tighter, which is indicative of like better focus. Granted, there were these little drops, but I gotta say I don't really want to use those for this calculation. We're looking at long time series data in this current YouTube series and this current sentiment analysis. So I really don't think that's the right approach. And the average power increases. I also don't get why the average, it says low, it does say low to high, so that's good. Oh yeah, consider extending this type of session. So it's good that that's positive. I don't like that it says negative. Let's call this I really just want to have this if start variance is less than the middle variance. So tempted to do that. I guess what is this called? It's called like a peak. Let's call this a peak. Instead of low to high, let's call this peak. Okay? Let's keep this. Alright, hang on. Let me just do this. Get this done real quick. Else if. Okay. Else if start dot variance is greater than, or no, less than. It is low to high. I guess what do I want to say about this though? This is a tough one. So if the variance is going from 122 to 143 back to 124, I guess what matters more is that you gained focus at the end, which is a positive. I think that's the better one to look at. Not. Let's just say gained focus in the last half. I guess like what I'm noticing here is that if the middle variance is greater than the variance at the end, we want to do something with this. We want to say, not there, but here we want to say output dot variance description equals, I don't know, peak. And it also happens to have, although yeah, the issue here is that we need to recognize here that focus was good at the end. It was bad in the middle, but then it really sharpened up at the end because it got tighter. And we have here, consider extending this type of session. So we want to say, I mean, we could say something like, let's just try this for now. And then this, we're just going to comment out for now. I just want to see on the 28th. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh, well, of course. Wait a minute. That's the wrong day. Alright, next time I'm writing down the date. Oh, come on. Here we go. The 27th is a good one too. Okay, way to recover focus at the end. Come on. Way to recover focus at the end. Your focus power was level. I don't know if that's helpful to say your focus power was level. I don't know if I like that one per se. This was a good time of day. I think we're almost there. We're definitely getting closer to having something meaningful. Alright, let's see what happens here. Please keep in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Da-da-da-da. Cool. So now we're getting, at least a little bit more clarity. I feel like we may be overfitting a little bit because this is terrible data. We should probably spend a couple minutes on that. Let's go look at my focus for today during this session. Oh, look at that, it's printing back out. Is it a network request that's taking this long? I thought I fixed a lot of this. Alright, I think I may have to spend some time cleaning up the performance of this application with like Alex or something. I don't know why it's suddenly slowing down so much. Interesting. So this is the data from today's session. Okay, so we're pretty close to being there. Definitely want to see if I can improve some of these and clean this up a little bit. I'll probably be thinking about that tonight on what we can do to prevent overfitting. Dock more time, probably. I don't know. It's pretty good, though. Uh-oh. Yeah, it definitely feels like there's like a memory leak or something somewhere. I don't know. Alright, well this seems like a pretty good stopping place for now. I think I'll be back probably tomorrow. I'll set up the time and we can see what time we can get on. Gotta look at my calendar. But yeah, so I've been using the Neurosity Notion. You can pre-order these today. They're still on discount while the supplies last. We'll be hand building these and shipping them out of our Brooklyn office as soon as we're able to get back there eventually. And yeah, so I'll come back with part 11. We'll make a little bit more headway. I like where we're going. I think I need to just maybe read a couple more research papers, talk to some of my neuroscience friends, get their advice on some of the metrics that we've been doing, just so that we use the power and knowledge of neuroscience to really steer how we're moving forward in this. But it seems like it's getting closer and closer to a shippable unit of work where we have a little bit better sentiment analysis, and we're creating this positive feedback system that helps us all become better programmers. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions by dropping a comment in the comment section below or subscribing to be notified when I go back programming. Thank you.